Hi, everybody. Welcome to the TCCW Live. We are here with two of our amazing members, and to get this party started, no idea what's coming up today, but do we ever? Just make it right? So, as everybody has seen, Dennis has been on before, but this is James, who is his first time on our Carnivore Live. And it's the first time I've seen him in person as well. So super excited. Everybody, I think, is getting to know his catchphrase pretty well. I know I repeat it all the time. Welcome, James.
Thank you. It's great to be with you. Great to see you also for the first time in person. We talk so much and communicate so much together, but to have a real and live conversation is you can't beat it. Wish we
For
could do it
sure.
more with more people.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know that you're based down in Florida here in the US. And what do you find your experience to be as a carnivore down in Florida?
Yeah, I'm down in Miami, so it's a lot of Central American, South American energy,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting. A lot of people don't shy away from meat here, but
Cannot complain about that.
absolutely, yeah. It's interesting, and so I tell some people, like one person, for example, I was like, yeah, he actually started following my account, and he's like, yeah, actually, I'm from Brazil. I love to eat meat. I just have to eat it with like plantains or have to eat it with rice. But nonetheless, still there aren't like straight up carnivores. I've had some friends who've tried carnivore for about 6 months, and they've kind of gone off of it,
Yeah.
but nonetheless, it's good energy. I think I can go into stories about even today. I bring butter to work for snacks because obviously the fat profile, things that are normal
Right.
to you and I and us, I'm interested in this space. But like people were chat GBTing why butter's not good for you, and they're like showing me, and I'm like, I don't,
You're
I'm not,
like,
I don't
you're
care.
like, did you know ChatGPT will try to prove anything you want, right? Like that's its job.
It will, yeah, exactly, and it could work the same way for carnivore, but I think the classic, in your face with anybody is look, like I would always say, we are the physiology, we are the
Yeah.
results of eating just meat, just butter, high fat animal foods, and
Yeah.
we've all of us gotten better, and people who say they
Right.
haven't gotten better, I'm like, well, what kind of carnivore were you doing?
Right. I always find it really funny that that exact like perspective where I go for a lot of the people that have known me for years, right? I go, you've seen what I've done, and you still think that I'm the one that's like jumping on this hoax of a lifestyle? Have you seen yourself? Have you seen what you're going through in comparison? Come on, guys. Like, I reversed cancer, and you're jumping on the next prescription, and we're at how many bottles now? And I'm not on a single one. What's the difference here? It's
Absolutely,
crazy.
yeah. No,
It's crazy.
to and to answer your question, let's see. There's a question in the chat. Do I eat a stick of butter a day? No, I mean, it's tough to get through half a stick. So satiating.
It is. It is. I know for myself, when I first started carnivore, I probably ate about a stick of butter a day myself, personally. Um, but I also was very like I wouldn't say I was completely nutrient deprived because I was on like an animal-based, keto-based diet for so many years before. But the switch over to fully alleviate that whole like addiction to the carbs part, the early fats in the beginning definitely helped me. Of course, obviously, I've teetered down, and I haven't been on butter since August now. So purely beef tallow, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Dennis? What's your take on butter and fats, and what's
Yeah,
your response?
well, actually, in my case, I am not a guy who eats too much fat. I'm more on the leaner side. I also tend to gain weight very quickly, so I guess it has to do something with that. But I do actually cook my own home tallow, beef tallow. And for everybody who is watching, you can buy beef trimmings, beef fat trimmings for very cheap and actually cook the butter, oh, sorry, the tallow at home. And it's very good. I find that I react to it better than butter. I don't really have the problem with dairy, or at least not as much as someone else can. But I find it that I feel a little bit better when I'm substituting butter for tallow. So, yeah, but I feel pretty good eating lean. Fat has not been as big part of my journey personally. But you know, people are very different. We all have very different personal needs, and you just gotta experiment and find your sweet spot.
I love this. Brian just got on here. James, carnivore, let's go, baby.
Uh,
We love
it,
it.
it's just for me, it's just that it's always like carnivore works. Like it's really a statement
Yeah.
that what everything that we've been taught is wrong, false, and I would yell at you, like yell it.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
like hilarious because once you know those old glasses like in the early 90s that like flipped up, right? It's
Yep.
like once you flip up that that
Mhm.
lens and you start looking around and actually seeing how it really is, and you're like, "Holy shit, people. Like, do you
Yeah.
realize what you're doing? How is it you
Yeah,
can't see
absolutely.
this?" You just wanna
Absolutely.
walk around and shake them by the shoulders and like, "Open your eyes, damn it."
Well,
Yeah, I
I mean,
always feel like, sorry,
go
James, go
ahead. Go
ahead.
ahead.
Nah, I just wanted to say that I always feel like this guy who is in the center of the street with the sign, the end is nigh,
Yeah.
just substitute it for carnivore, go carnivore, Um, After you internalize this experience and you start realizing that we got in our society, we got some things upside down, you
Mhm.
really cannot be quiet about it, but then people just think that you are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, to me, it's really interesting. So, in the U.S., for those who are international, maybe similar else, like I think you said you're in Finland, right, Dennis?
Correct.
So here in the U.S., even in Miami, there's fast food on like every corner. Every corner is like fighting for spots. It's just awful. And what used to be to me really entertaining. So, for example, there's this one Raising Cane's is this restaurant, and one thing it's a brand new one built in my neighborhood, and I used to would have been the one that's like, oh my gosh, I'll be there every single day. There's always a wrapped around drive through line for people, waiting. The same thing with like a Chick-fil-A, for example. Like all these fast food restaurants just have people lined up. And now I go by there and I'm like, there's literally zero nutrition out of these meals. And it's just a staple like late night eats, early morning eats, lunchtime. That's just the habit of going out and getting these foods that have zero nutrients, and then we wonder why we need to eat multiple times a day because our body is calling for nutrients.
It's also carbs. Carbs are
Yeah,
hijacking our
too.
our hormonal signaling.
That too. Yeah.
Um,
So it's really taken me. Again, I see my friends, my coworkers, and what they're eating. I just fast during the day now. I do typically 2 meals a day, but like lunch in the middle of the day of a standard work day is nothing for me now. I'm already got the mental clarity. I'm focused. I don't have food noise screaming at me. And everyone else is like, all right, what are you doing for lunch today? What'd you bring for lunch? We're gonna go get something, and then they're spending probably $15 per meal. And if it's delivered, add on the delivery fee. And so people want to claim carnivore as being expensive. Well, you want to compare ordering from an app with the delivery fee that costs as much as the meal
Hmm.
itself.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's really, oh,
absolutely.
yeah,
People think that carnivore is just eating ribeye every day. You know.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, for the most part, it is. But you're right. I mean, comparatively, I spend the extra umph on a ribeye because I find it to be a higher taste profile, of course, a better taste profile compared to chuck roast. I think chuck roast obviously is a similar cut or close to the ribeye, but I also compare it to what I just mentioned. I don't eat ribeye every single meal every day. If I have my 2 meals a day, but I definitely eat eggs and bacon, and then a ribeye. I feel 100% on ribeye, or chuck roast or meat. I feel what's up. I feel 95%,
Hey,
90 to 95% on bacon and eggs, and tallow and high fat. But when it's that profile of the animal fat as it is, unrendered with the meat, I don't know. I just feel better. I feel 100% that way.
I think most of us could say that. Cam, your mic's on mute, babe. I have to say, like, it's the
There
same.
we go.
So, hi.
Hey guys.
oh,
Okay,
what's up?
so Cam, this is James and Dennis officially. In
Nice
case
to
you
meet you
guys
guys.
are not
Hey,
familiar,
Likewise.
this is Neanderthal. Yes, I said that right,
Yes.
I think.
Yes. Like Neanderthal, but with my
Yes,
last name is the
yes.
add-on.
Well,
okay.
and this is a pleasure as well because Cam has also not ever been on a live with us either. And of course, he's got a rocket with the best scenery out of all three of us over
Yeah.
here.
All right. I had to go outside. I've been inside all work all day.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So, James was just talking about, one of the best aspects that he experiences with basically beef, butter, eggs. Um, no, we don't all eat a ribeye every single day. As some of the comments over here, is ribeyes too expensive? It can be a little crazy. And I think, as we were explaining, the misconception about being on carnivore is that you have to be rocking like prime cuts every meal, and that's obviously not the case. If you guys get to know Cam here a little bit, you'll find he actually does quite a bit of his own game hunting and gathering. So yeah, I guess I'll let you take it away. Hi.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's really hard, I guess, living on carnivore in today's world because everything else is expensive if it's healthy for you. And I eat mainly game meat, mainly deer and elk, some bears, some pronghorn. Me and my brothers are pretty good at hunting, um, especially my younger brother. That's all he does. So we mainly eat game meat, and that saves on so much money. I process it myself. I take the whole deer out. A lot of people don't. A lot of people take a quarter out and, 4 quarters and takes back strap or whatever. I take the whole deer and I use everything. I will eat organs when that time comes, but there'll be 6 months I don't eat an organ. So that's another thing people probably need to pay attention to. It's not all about this day-to-day thing. Um, and ribeyes are delicious. I eat a ribeye maybe every couple months. I don't eat ribeyes often. That's like a go out to eat thing, and even then, I don't really like to go out to eat because you don't really know how good every place is. But don't
Yeah.
let that stop you from going out and having fun with your friends. Don't let
Yeah,
people
for sure.
don't let people stop you from having fun. You got to have fun, but don't take everything so seriously. So don't expect yourself to have to eat a ribeye. You might be eating truck roast, which I would prefer because it has more nutrients in it than ribeye. So if you can eat anything, eat a truck roast.
Yeah. One of the comments asked, where are you, Cam? In
I'm
what
in
general region?
northern Idaho, Panhandle. If you guys ever heard of
No,
Ruby Ridge, I'm like 25 minutes from there,
not
which is
bad.
a well-known event that happened up here. But
Yes, yes.
very homesteady where I'm at. So a lot of people struggle with the city and living in the city, and you can do it. It's just harder.
Yeah,
I
for
chose to leave modern society and live a more standard lifestyle, and I can say, if you live in the city and you're not happy, it's because you live in the city and you're around too much toxic people.
Yeah.
But that's not everybody. A lot of people aren't awake enough to even see their suffering. So there was a lot of things. Doing carnivore is probably the best thing you could do. The easiest thing you could do, I guess you could really look at it that way. It's the easiest thing you could transition into and clear your mind, because it's not that those plants we're eating or the bad food we're eating, we're eating too much of it. It's not that we're eating, you know what I mean, a little amount you can get away with because your body's made to do that. I choose not to do any of it because why? But if you're going to do it, do less of it. So when people do carnivore 70-30, you're going to have a better advantage of life than doing it 50-50. You know what I mean? Most people are probably 20-80 opposite when it comes to carnivore, and we're suffering because of it.
Absolutely.
But well, something you brought up though, Selena, earlier, and Cam wanted to share the same thought, which is a lot of people just don't realize it. So it's tough to get to a place where you understand the flip.
Yeah.
And as we all know, we can explain it to people, and they can see the results in us, but it still doesn't make sense. It's not going to be practiced. It's like, wow, you look great, but no, that's not healthy. Oh, it's not sustainable.
Right.
Constant feedback, because we're just in this, people are collectively in this mindset of like, okay, this is how the world operates. I must eat this macro and that macro and that macro, and I have to count my calories. The whole we're in a mess in a sense.
It is. It's wild.
It's funny because we were all once asleep and doing those same things.
True.
And when you're a sufferer and you find life, you know what I mean? And carnivore is just a start. Just any of you that have started or haven't been on it that long, it's just a start. If you keep looking, you'll keep finding better things.
Yeah.
But people usually stop at certain points. Never stop evolving, keep evolving past that. Once you learn that, move on to something and learn something new. But we all started from somewhere. We all awoke from the modern society of insaneness. We live in a clown world. It's upside down.
Yeah.
Right? Nutrition is called health and all these things. And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So if they knew the work that Selena put in, if they knew the work that I put in, that Dennis put in, that James put in to understand all this, you wouldn't want to do that. I spent years and years of research destroying my mind, trying to figure out what was right. Truth.
Yeah.
Seeking. I didn't care what was right. I just wanted to know what was right. And to find out that it was all manipulated, right? If you really want to get on the brass tacks, people that are listening, this is all government manipulation. We can wake up from that and we can go back to what we were. What was before everything? Nature. And what can give us life? Nature. What are we part of? The circle of life. Before we created language, we were part of this. We've been just disconnected from it. So we just need to find our way back. And us here talking, we're here to help those people find their way back. And a lot of people do it for money. I do most of it for free. And I will continue to do that because that's my love in me. But that's just from my knowing. Not everyone needs to do that.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to take it on, Selena, or I had to follow up?
You go ahead, honey. I'm just here.
Well, there's no, we have law enforcement for, standard laws, but we don't have law enforcement for food. And people want to treat it as such. People want to suddenly become the law enforcement. No, you can't do that. Wait a minute. Since when and says who? I choose to eat meat. That has nothing. It has zero to do with you. So you're,
Right.
These comments on social that we all get, or, some of the weird faces that we all get out in public, wherever the case might be. It's just like, this has absolutely zero to do with you. And by the way, all of us are healing. So, again, I just say it as a phrase of like, there's no law enforcement for food. Eat Lancet 2.0, we all know, was released last week. Okay. And what? And do we have to listen to that? No. I think the message I try to get across, and I do it in a cheeky way, but in a more of a live and a serious setting, is look, here's the food guidelines. You can look at it. Now, do you have to do that? No. That's very different. And I think it's just like you're saying, awaken. We have to show people there's another side of living life. Taking control of our own health is a priority for all of us in this space. But I think also just sharing that with others, take priority. Selena, you said it yourself, like, hey, my friend is on all these meds and going through all these health issues. Like, take a look in the mirror, and if you're really struggling with something, say, is it working? Am I eating meat only? No. Am I eating these things? Am I having trouble? Yes. So association there versus people who are eating meat, association, and even listening. I, I can go on. I'll just kind of like wind down on this one comment here, but like, I think it's so, we're in a world so accustomed to saying, I got healthy eating a vegan diet. And most of the world say, yes, go, good job. I got healthy eating a standard diet. I just calorie counted and I cut my calories. Well, you really starved yourself. And then, after 3 months, you're going to gain the weight back because you're starving.
And that's the part. Did you get healthy or did you just lose weight?
Great point. Solid.
Yeah, and to add a bit to that, is that it's even we are talking about people who are part of the discussion about nutrition, and those people are very few and far between in my experience, because most of the people surrounding me in my life, and I am accustomed with different cultures. I come from Russia, and now I've been living for a long time in Finland, in Europe, and everywhere it's basically the same. People don't even think that nutrition somehow affects their life. Basically, most of the people have this line of thinking, well, I just have to work out more and maybe eat less, this regular bullshit. And a lot of people don't even associate their symptoms or feeling bad or looking bad with what they're eating. They don't realize that all of their trillions of cells in their body are actually comprised out of food and nutrition that they're eating. And to circle back, James, you mentioned that people are noticing how you look like and that you're energized and that you are like this bright ball of energy. And I've also had this kind of comments. So some people will notice, oh, like Dennis, you've slimmed up and you're looking great and good for you. But then the same person will tell me after a few hours that, hey, you are doing this carnivore thing. I think it's dangerous for you. So they're not even connecting these things together. It's like almost like food is just a given, and it's not, well, it's not common to have a discussion around it. It's just something that you do, that you learn from your parents, and then you pass down to your kids, and that's it.
That's what we call hereditary diseases.
Yeah.
It's passed down diets and mental conditions.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
It's it is a really like sad perspective when you can actually see the disconnection of correlation. Like you really can't see this weird line that you're keeping a wall between your awareness of. Like you can't even look over there, because I have like my in-laws, right? My husband, before we started Carnivore, he he's a smaller framed man. He's not like this big, massive man. So when he had his clothes on, you didn't necessarily particularly notice too much, except he was getting a gut, like a pretty significant gut. But if he had a sweatshirt on, you wouldn't notice, right? But his parents did. They noticed rather often. They would make comments and do whatever. He has lost all of that. All of it. Not even trying, not even like purposefully doing anything, just becoming carnivore. And they now go, we really think this is really dangerous for you. And it's like he's no longer going through all of these other experiences of discord in the body. And now it's like, wait a minute, these things heal. He's no longer carrying all this excess weight that he shouldn't have to. He's no longer, walking around in like complete carb addiction. And you're saying that this is dangerous. without any understanding. But these are the same people, and I love them dearly, so it's not like I'm trying to whatever, but these are the same people that, "Well, the doctor said,"
Mhm.
"Well, the doctor said," "Well, now I'm on a statin, now I'm on a this, and now I'm on a that, and I've gotta go on this, and I've gotta go on that." And I go, "You're barely 60. Barely." And I just wanna say, at 60 years old, you're already acting like, you got one foot in the grave and you just gotta live on all these medications and there's just no help for you. And here, even with that, like, you know, my father-in-law's doctor literally told him this last couple weeks, "Your LDL's a little bit high, so you need to stop eating eggs." And
Mm.
it's like, that's the only real food he ate.
Yeah.
Everything else is some sort of processed, come in a package from the grocery store kind of meal, and you just go, you literally, as a doctor, just told this man to take away the only food that's actually real.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to just continue that topic, which is so my dad passed away just over a year ago. And when he was near the end, his final months, I went back home for me, which is in Houston. I saw him and we walked down the stairs. I'll never forget. I was just like, whoa, we're headed that way. So I remember going back to the airport after that 3-day trip, and I pleaded to my brother. I pleaded. I said he needs to eat just real food because the doctors are saying that here eat fruit, but it's processed fruit in a little cup with sugar, and eat syrup on your waffles in the morning. That's okay, but don't eat eggs and don't eat steak. Don't eat salt. All these things. I just pleaded to my brother because at that time I'd already been on carnivore, had seen the benefits, and had been learning about, what we now know to be actually whole, nutritious,
Yeah.
optimal foods. And
Mm.
it's interesting that our doctors in our mainstream medical system are taught otherwise, and I don't think they're just intently being like, hey, become malnutritious. No, but that's really what's happening when we're taking away eggs and we're saying don't eat steak, and we're taught to think don't include salt in the meals. That's huge, but go ahead and include sugar. That's okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't think they have had salt in their food other than food that I have cooked them over the years. And my my in-laws are like, I don't think they specifically went and bought a thing of salt for me when I first started becoming a part of the family because they didn't even have salt in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yep.
like, what? I mean, you guys don't even at least have the crap salt? Like nothing? Like, what? What? No, 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 that's gonna raise our blood
Yeah.
pressure.
I,
And I'm
I've
like,
learned. Yeah, I've learned now when I travel, me and my husband, we literally go shopping, or I have a bag of salt with me anyway. But yeah, because we go to some people's houses and same story. They're like, no, we don't have salt. I'm like, oh, interesting.
right?
Should probably
Like,
down that multiple times a day.
Did they have sugar, though?
Of course,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
and a,
Oh, yeah.
and a pantry full of shelf stable processed foods.
And that's the part where you kinda go, "Really? Does this really make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing that you think is okay? Like, we can have sugar and desserts and, I'm pretty sure that my mother-in-law pretty much just lives off of fruit. And it's like, "Well, but that's healthy for you. We're supposed to have all these fruits and vegetables." And I'm like, "But you're literally, like, going through these extreme medical issues that are all fed by sugar."
Yeah. So.
Nature has seasons for
Mhm.
your area, and if you eat to those seasons, you have a better chance of surviving. I had a guy come in. I used to own a pickle store, even when I was carnivore. I owned a pickle store and I sold olive oil, really high class stuff though, none of that cheap crap. So he came to my store. He's trying to sell me oranges, and it's December, and I'm like, yeah, oranges aren't really, they don't grow here. He's like, oh yeah, but they're still good for you, vitamin C, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, but really, if you think about it, it doesn't grow here. It's not seasonally for this area. If I lived in the area that grew that, that'd be perfect because it would have the sun to take care of the deuterium, right? To suck up some
Exactly.
energy to get rid of the glucose to use the energy in the fruit. I don't live in that area. I live in a high north area. You know what I mean? If I lived in, Inuit area, I'd be eating nothing but meat. You know what I mean?
Right.
And nothing else. So it makes sense. It's where you live. But then you can still look at the people that live in the equator or Costa Rica or wherever fruit grows around all the time. They still don't live that long. Papua New Guinea, they're in one of the hottest areas ever, and they got food everywhere, and they live to be average like 53. So what are we doing wrong? It could be community. That could be a base thing. You look at Japan, they live over 100. They still eat some plants. They're probably 80% meat, though, when you look at the numbers.
Right.
And they have a big community, and they're not listening to all this noise. We live in the U.S., and we listen to a lot of noise. So how do you listen to this guy says eat this guy says eat that? Well, you got to experience. You need to stop listening to people talk, and you need to start experience for yourself. I did a lot of experiments where I ate a certain way for a long time and got a baseline model of how to do that. So yeah, if you want to eat carbs, then you better be working your ass off, right? If you don't want to work out a lot and you just want to be a human and just walk daily and talk to people and just live, you don't want to be that, I got to work out every day.
Yeah.
Eat carnivore, eat lion diet, actually. You know what I mean? Because then you'll be totally fine. I eat under 2,000 calories a day, but I eat game meat, so I'm getting almost double the protein out of my meat than beef when it comes to per gram. So I don't eat as much that way, but I can still be 190 pounds, nothing but muscle, and I don't work out. I see you guys on our Instagram stuff. You guys are working out, doing all this crazy stuff. I hike, I walk, I hunt. You know what I mean? I chop wood with my kids. I don't have a set routine of working out. I do a lot of stretching. I do a lot of sitting still in silence. And it's pretty good. But you have to go off that model. You have to live that model. So if I want to do something different, let's say, oh, it's fruit time. Fruit's here. It's growing on the tree. Well, I'm probably be working out that week. You know what I mean? I'm going to get rid of the toxin, right? You go into the cold plunge. You do something, right? You go into the hot sauna. You go into the hot tub. You know what I mean? You're detoxing. So if you don't want to detox, eat a lion diet and you don't have any toxins.
Yeah.
If you want to add toxins into your life mentally, right? Also your food, then you have to do the process to get rid of those toxins.
Yeah.
The problem is we're too stuck with the noise. There's too much politics. There's too much diet. There's too much this and that. How can you focus on all of it? Well, don't focus on any of it. Focus on yourself, right? Experience it. I would put myself through, I wouldn't do this, what I did. I would have killed myself for the experiment. And a lot of people won't do that. But I was in a dark place of seeking truth. And I didn't care at that point because I was lied to my entire life. Just like everyone that's watching this that is sleeping, you have been lied to your entire life. I'm sorry to tell you that the truth is out there. You will never find it listening to us, listening to TV, reading a book. You will find it in yourself. You will find it in nature because that's what we are. We are nature. We are part of this whole entire thing. So if you want to find yourself, go do it. I'll guide you, but I can't do anything for you. You are the one that can fix yourself. Only you can change yourself. We're just here talking because we love each other and we love what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
And we believe in what we're doing.
Well,
we don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to hurt nobody. I want people to love and be free. I don't want to be trapped in the mind because there's too much noise going on. Get rid of the noise and heal.
I think exactly that point. We are individually, the truths, but for those who aren't awake or those who are watching and don't believe what we're saying is like you have real, authentic, sane human beings all talking with each other, and we're not just making this up. And I think that should have some weight to it. It should have a lot of weight to it. But those who have flipped the switch and have tried to eat a meat-based diet, I'm carnivore, mostly lion. I had salmon a couple days ago, but besides that, meat, steak and eggs and bacon. That's my life. Absolutely thrilling. And then one thing I want to kind of add on to your point, though, as far as we're in this maze of, workout and detox and eat whatever you want and work out again. And that's just a little rat race maze, actually.
Yeah.
And we got to get out of that. And so one area of proof, which happened by accident for me, is I got busy with work and I let the excuse get in, but still staying carnivore. I went from working out and doing my agility and gym every day to, I'm not lying here, I'm not exaggerating. Everyone, please listen to this. 6 months, I did not work out a single day. For 6 months, I did not lose muscle. I did not gain fat. I didn't gain 20 pounds for not working out. I just stayed the way I was. And again, 6 months later, I picked back up. And of course, it took me a while, like a week, maybe two, to get back to where I was, but it was just rapid. Like you said, you called it 190 pounds. I'm 180 pounds. I stayed 180
Yeah.
pounds for 6
I'm
months with
five.
zero workout.
I'm 5'7". You know what I mean? I'm
Oh,
a
wow.
short guy.
Yeah.
I did that for a year because I heard a man. His name is Anthony Chafee. You guys might have heard of him before. He's a famous carnivore doctor. But he said a gorilla just lives. It eats its natural food per its biology, and it doesn't go lift weights. And this some bitch is 400 pounds of shit bitchin' muscle, right? And I was like, well, if I just eat strict lion diet for a whole year, and I actually counted that time. I measured everything out specifically. I'm going to eat this amount every day. And I ate that every day for a whole entire year, and I stopped working out. I didn't run. I didn't do anything. I was still able to do as many push-ups I was the year prior, still able to run just as fast. And I went and I did a 24-mile hike in 8 hours on that year date. And I made it back alive. It was very close. It was very worn out. That 24-mile hike. I had 80 pounds of gear in my rucksack. So I did all that after a year of not doing anything besides just living, playing with my kids, still chopping wood because I got to burn fire. You know what I mean? But I wasn't working out a rigid program. I did sit down, and if you guys ever heard of Joe Dispenza, you can sit down in meditation, and you can actually keep your muscle, or you can grow it. So I did that through that whole entire year, and I didn't lose anything. So the power of the mind is more powerful than you think. And when you awaken, you find carnivore. And then when you find carnivore, you find other things. And it chases you down this path of finding, well, if people are doing this, eating vegetables, what can I do eating meat, the actual human blueprint? So instead of eating like a yogi, I eat like a human, but I live mindful like a yogi. And I was able to connect with Earth, with the frequency of everything because of that. And I would love everyone to have that feeling, because it's the feeling everyone chases. It's the feeling I chased when I found out about it. And when I finally let go of it, of chasing that feeling and just becoming one with nature, everything let go. Our minds control everything. So once you go carnivore, unlock your mind because you have no toxics going on. If you ignore the noise, you have less toxic, you evolve faster. How fast do you want to evolve? Do you want to have little carbs here and there to work out, right? Or do you want to work out, eat nothing but meat, evolve faster? Maybe 10 years from now, you don't have to work out as much because you evolved to the peak you wanted to be, right?
Yeah.
Where's everyone at and their level of consciousness and awareness? Who wants to be enlightened today? Right?
The process keeps going. It doesn't. I'm just a week shy of 2 years on carnivore, and I am surprised, and like many people in this space, the advancements month by month, and not only the advancements physiologically, but also, to your point, just consciously. I'll speak for myself, but I'm gonna guess it's the same for a lot of people that have been carnivore and eaten a optimal nutritional diet for humans, which is, I have now become the owner of my own health naturally and instinctually. I used to, as I often say, lease out my health. I don't own my own health. I lease it out to others. Others can make me healthy. Others can help me to be healthy. This thing, like the gym, can help me be healthy. Even like we talked about, these macros, which are just a bunch of junk anyway, will help me be healthy. Calories will help me. All the things that we push out was going to get me healthy. No, it is, I am healthy and I am in control. And it's amazing just to try to extend this thought, which is, it just keeps evolving, and now it's just a confidence. That's an unshakable confidence to the point where, I don't, we know that, are some of the pillars in the carnivore space have made some off the cuff weird statements, I think, in the last week or two.
Oh, or day.
And and I don't, if I relied on them for my health, then I would be distraught. I'd be like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they were wrong. No, like
Right.
I'm in me now, and you, like you said, Kim, like you are confident in you, and you, okay. So say what you want to say.
Yep.
No, next person up, because somebody else, you, Kim, you'll be up. Dennis, Selena, Joel, you're up next. If you're the next one that catches on, great. I will. Hey, everybody, so everybody go check out Selena because she's the next leader. Boom. I don't care if you're I'm not saying any names here. I'm not gonna try to call people out, but you know what I'm talking about. Go on. Go on. We don't need. We thank you, but we don't need you. That's where I'm at. Thank you, but we don't need you because we are. I'm confident because of this.
Same. Absolutely same. On that topic, hold on. Quick little moment, little brief thing. Today is officially my 1-year carniversary, guys.
Woo! Heck yeah.
There it is.
Yep. Official. I'm official now. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Everyone's gonna
Wow.
evolve at their own
Happy
pace.
anniversary.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone's gonna evolve at their own pace, and you just gotta accept it, right? Because there was a point I would have been online, been like, "You're fucking retarded." You know what I mean? What are you talking about? Just eat meat. You're not right in the head, right? So I went and I looked. I read studies. I read a lot of studies. I read so many studies that I found out all the studies are BS. Because how can there be 10,000 studies and none of them agree with each other? That doesn't make any sense.
Same.
So, and when you look at studies, they're all on sick people because anybody going to the hospital is sick, and the average population is sick. My opinion is we've been sick for 12,000 years since agricultural industrial revolution going on. So when agricultural started, we started going down, right? So when you look at that, we can go back up. We can evolve just like a pig goes out in nature, and 2 weeks later, all of a sudden they have tusks and they're wild. How did they do that? They
Right.
evolved within weeks. You can do the same thing. The only thing that's stopping you is your belief. Where's your belief held? Right here. How do you get rid of that? You actually got to go in there and find it. But
Yeah.
you got to get rid of the noise around you. So
For sure.
yeah.
Well, Joel, you have been awfully quiet, my dear. So welcome to the table today. There's
Yeah.
a whole table today, guys.
It's good to meet you, Joel.
Yes.
I haven't talked to him at all, but I'm rarely
Yes,
in the chats in the group. But
yeah, nice to meet you, boss. How you doing, James?
Hey,
Yeah,
what's up,
Dennis.
Joel? Good to see you
Hi, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, good to see you.
in the building.
Yeah, I knew James. Yeah, James was one guy that we met on TikTok, like just randomly, like he commented on one of my posts and it was like, oh, like first, okay, just like, okay, this guy, black guy getting Carnivore, he was surprised to see me, and I was like, no, yeah, healing is for everyone, bro.
Yeah.
And fortunately, yeah, months down the line, it's part of the Carnivore community now, feels great. So, like, I've been quiet and listening to everyone because I'm just, we learn from each other. It's been an amazing journey for me personally, like switching to like carnivore. The healing that comes with it is like very, very, I call it miraculous because you don't know how much damage you've done to yourself until you change the way you eat. And one thing I've always told people, this is not just about eating. It's more like a different lifestyle, like entirely. It doesn't have to just do with the diet alone. It's instill like discipline in you. You know, it makes you like not get carried away with the noise around you. You see it. You could be in silence and still like be healed from like going to quiet places, going into like experiences sunlight, grounding, and all of these things that comes with like healing in itself. Not just what it does to our biology, but our mental state and our entire well-being. It's not just about like putting sticks and eggs on your plate. Even when we get like the bioavailable nutrients from these meals, it's a life-changing experience. And if you want to convince people to go on it, sometimes it's a personal journey. You know what I mean? You need to experience it for yourself. You need to
Yeah.
you need to dedicate time and see how it works, because you can see all of the benefits all year round, but if you don't try it, you're not going to experience it. So for anybody watching, I usually say just take like 2 weeks off, get rid of all those junks and rubbish you've been feeding yourself with, and just commit to it and see how you feel. That's the only way to experience the true human diet.
Yeah.
It's more like when we relate it back to our ancestors, the way they thrive, the way they live. These days, people don't even live past 80 years old, 90 years old, and they think like they've even lived long enough. We are
Yeah, like
supposed to
you say,
like
make it past
live
60.
longer than those years.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's almost because
people
we're
die
too
at the age
sad.
of 70, and
Yeah.
like people could live past 120, 130, and I feel like this way of eating and this way of living would make you try for a long time. So that's what I think. Nobody, because ever since I started this journey, I've never been sick or inflamed or anything. So
Mhm.
why would you hold back to just give it a try? It's sad when you have to like preach to people about it and try to convince them. There's so much
Yeah.
noises around. You hear a lot of diets, and people tell you animal peas mixed it with fruits and stuff. Meanwhile, people that tell you to eat fruits knows the truth about what this is about, but probably because it's more commercial and they want to gain from it or benefit from like large audiences. They tell you like it's animal based, but we know like when you take oranges and it's sugar when you do those grapes out there right now. You're still putting sugar into your body. So why? The truth is always very scary to people, but it's what it is what it is actually.
Well, I think well, many of us know, but some who don't might be surprised to learn that we're born in ketosis.
Right.
And that's when we're truly awake. I mean, obviously alive, but that's when we're truly awake in the sense of, natural human physiology and nutrition. So obviously, mother's milk, us babies, stay in ketosis. It's only when we introduce these foods when we start to fall asleep. And for many of us, we fall asleep as kids before we can even really have memories. And it's normal. So, I think that's really the sad part in all this is that we have to reawaken ourselves to flip the switch again when we should be like our
True.
ancestors, just awake our entire lives.
Children are awake until they're 7 years old. They're in theta state where they're just
Right.
downloading everything. So they don't really think. They're just downloading everything that they're learning. So they resemble you. So you don't like your child acting the way they're acting, it's because of you or their surrounding, whether you're sending them to public schools, so they're acting like the people around. They're just absorbing all the time. And they created that, Prussia created that to make citizens perfect models to be able to send out to war and die and work for them. And America took that model over and just created their own little version of it. But if you take a kid, they would say, "Give me your son before he is 7, I would turn him into a man." It's because of that, because they can download anything they want into him. You can turn a kid into Hitler, you know what I mean, if you know what
Well,
you're doing, or you can
Hitler
turn him
said
into an angel. Depends what you
Hitler
want to do.
said the same thing. Give me a kid from birth to 7 and he's mine forever.
Yep, yep. So, and that's just awareness. That's our natural state, like
Mhm.
James is saying, that we lost because of all the noise, because of this guy said that. And you didn't experience that though. You just took what he said and you made it your own experience, even though you never experienced that yet. So if you haven't experienced carnivore, don't be telling people you've done carnivore, especially if you've done it the same way they did it. You know what I mean? Because like, oh, did you do it the same way Jake Thomas did it? Were you working out 6 hours a day? You know what I mean? Being a complete animal. You know what I mean? No,
Right.
you didn't. When you ate a month worth of, watermelon, were you Jake Thomas? Jake Thomas doing all those things? No, you weren't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to go off of your model. You know what I mean? Your body, what you can handle. You know what I mean? But you can change that. You can change all of that, right?
Mhm.
I didn't used to be able to handle certain things. Now I can handle all of them just fine. Why is that? You know what I mean? Because I changed it. I changed it here. You know what I mean? And it worked.
But
So
yeah,
go ahead, James.
and excuse me for interrupting. I was just going to say that point too. What does work, but it does take waking up takes time. You know,
Mhm.
I can take my own references of why I chose to go carnivore. I just did it one day, October 22nd, which is coming up. That's my carniversary.
We're all
And
October carniversary babies.
yeah, we're close. Yeah. And the reason why is varying, but I knew in that moment because of I just knew with my dad's health and what I'd gone through, and I've been low carb and I was still getting fatter, and I'm like, this isn't working. So I said, here it is right now. I am going carnivore. But even deciding, it took a good 3 to 4 months to really wake up without a cheat meal. It still took time to really wake up because there's such a mind suck, so to speak, thinking. I woke up every day. I would wake up sometimes at 5 in the morning, just almost going crazy. I'd have to go outside. I remember like scratching my head because I was saying, I haven't had a carb. I haven't had a vegetable. Am I going to die? This is
Yeah.
my mind playing with me.
Yep.
Mhm.
It takes time to wake up, and the only thing that kept me sane through all that, and I'm not joking, I would literally go in my backyard and scratch my head. I would take water and pour it on my head, like, what is going on? Even though I'm getting healthy, isn't that the funniest thing?
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
Even though I'm dropping
Absolutely.
weight, even though the mental clarity is there, even though I'm waking up just alive and ready to go now, and suddenly I'm like, but I haven't had a carb and a vegetable. So that's the waking up process, and it's tough for a lot of people to even wake up enough to want to even consider just trying, meat alone or animal-based diet, let alone us in this space who are at least willing to try it and then figure it out
Yeah.
and wake up slowly. So I think considering that with me gives me context and perspective on where others might be, because again, that was like almost a quarter of a year, where I just the drives that I had to work in the mornings. I'm not lying. Like pulling over and just saying, I should probably. Okay, I did cheat one time. I was going crazy. I cheated. I went to the refrigerator and I grabbed orange juice because at that time we still had orange juice in the refrigerator. I poured a whole glass and I was
Pure
like, "This,
sugar.
I need
Oh.
this. Yeah, I need sugar."
Was
Right?
it
Yeah,
pulp? Did it have
yeah.
pulp in it at least?
It
Some fiber?
had pulp,
No.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, you need to return your carnivore card now, James. I'm sorry to
yeah.
say that.
Dang it. Ah,
Yeah,
The
it's been
true
good
definition
knowing
of a
you,
carnivore
but
is 70 plus. So you remember that. True carnivore
Yeah.
is 70 plus when you look at the actual definition.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
we're
Most
80
people don't
plus
realize
when we
that.
when we speak about humans though, we're 80 plus because when you look at the testing, the ISO testing, we were eating the
yeah,
predators. So the predators were 70. So you look at a lion, lion's 70% carnivore because they're
Mhm.
eating the ruminants, they're getting some ruminant, right? But we were eating the carnivores also. So we were extra carnivore, hyper carnivore, even if you want to call it that way, right?
Right.
Extra predators. Uh, so we were made to eat meat when you look at that. Just look at the ISO testing. You know what I mean? It shows we were made to eat meat. I don't even need that. I have my experience. So I don't need
Mhm.
any of that anymore.
Right.
I don't need to read any more books. I don't need to read any more stories because they're all outside of my being.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But some people might need to read the books to understand. Let's say you go and you find carnivore, you're like, oh, this is amazing. And now I need to understand it. Then go read
Sure.
if you want to understand it. But you don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to prove anybody that carnivore is the best or that's this. You just need to live. You need to be proof that this is healing. I have been defibrillated 5 times from 24 years old to 28 years old for AFib, and I was on medication. And I had had surgery for gastric sleeve in 2018, and about a year later after that, I had another AFib attack. I'd lost 200 pounds. I lost 100 pounds before I had surgery, but they still said if you don't have the surgery, you're going to die. And I'm like, well, if this is going to make it so I stop getting shocked and getting my heart back into rhythm and stop taking medication, fucking I'll do it. I don't care at this point. I'm 400 and something pounds of that. I lost 100 pounds. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm feeling great. I don't need the surgery. I'm down to 326. And they're like, no, you're going to die. So I went and saw 3 other doctors. They kept telling me, no, your heart's going to give out. You're going to die. My wife, kids, it's like, okay, I'll do the surgery. So I had the surgery. I lost another 100 pounds after that. So I'm around 240 probably. And I go into AFib again. And I'm feeling amazing. I lost 200 pounds. Anybody feel amazing lose 200 pounds? But there was still something not right. Went in, I got shocked again. I just walked straight in. It was during COVID. No, it was, yeah, right when COVID 2019, right when COVID was going on. I walked through the door and he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm an AFib." At that point, guys, I don't care about anything anymore because I've been just so abused by the medical system that just walk in there. Can you just hit me with the defibrillator and I can go home? You know what I mean? And he's laughing at me. And he's like, "We got to make sure you're an AFib." I'm like, "I'm an AFib, dude. This isn't my first rodeo." He checks it. I'm an AFib, shocks me. I go home. And after that, I was like, F everybody. I'm finding out what's truth. And I searched for truth. And my doctor was amazed on how healthy I got, how fast I got. And everybody was like, "Well, it's because of the surgery." Well, I out ate that surgery after I found out that it was all bullshit and I needed to eat food. So I just went pretty much carnivore. I went low carb first. The family went whole food. So you people that are eating whole food thinking whole food's the best, I need to eat whole food. It is not the best. I had my family doing that for 3 years while I was doing carnivore until I had my experience and I knew truthfully that this was the right thing to do. I didn't switch my family to full carnivore. And when they did, they got better. How does that even happen? People are eating whole
Right.
food, sourdough, everything's fermented, everything's organic, everything's pure. I can tell you one thing, it wasn't seasonal. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it was year round making the bread, but it was all organic, ancient wheat, sourdough. You know what I mean? The best you could get. Guys, I was living high life homesteading. But what was wrong? It wasn't seasonal, it wasn't connected with nature. And I'm in nature. And I still wasn't connected because I was still listening to the noise.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's
So
a
once I
great
did that,
story.
right,
Hmm.
I got off my medication though. No more heart medication. 3 years after going carnivore, so I had to see a cardiologist every 6 months, right? I'm
Right.
I'm in my 20s. This is retarded, right? I'm going to a cardiologist, and then after 3 years on carnivore, he tells me you don't need to come back anymore. You don't need to take your medication. I stopped taking medication for about a year before he told me that, but he told me you don't come back anymore. Your heart's perfect. He scanned everything. He's like, I don't know what you did. And I was like, hey, I did low carb. I did no
Yeah.
carb, but I did low carb. It was very low, you know. And he said, keep doing it. I've never heard many doctors say that.
Mhm.
My doctor
Yeah.
said that. My cardiologist said it. My actual doctor, I don't see her anymore. I quit seeing her 2 years ago because she told me I didn't need her anymore. She said she needed me. So it made me, it's like, oh, that's sweet. I don't need to come back here anymore. I was going back there for her because she would amp me up. Cameron, oh my God, you're amazing. How is your freaking thyroid level so perfect? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. My
Well,
cholesterol level isn't high like all your guys's that go all high like that. My stuff is perfect. And I didn't like that. I don't want my stuff to be perfect because the average person is sick, right? So I never got the whole
Right.
talk of LDL, statins, or any of that because I was fine. My bloods were fine.
and
But
and
I
our
didn't believe carnivore would raise my LDL at the time. So was it your belief that's making it rise or what is it? Who knows?
also, to that point is, as we all have learned as well, is that our blood markers are averages
Yeah.
of the general population of our regions. So I don't know the details of it, how it's broken apart by regions or countries, but if the majority of our world is unhealthy, I'm not willing to be in the average.
Well,
Yeah.
and
That's what
Yeah.
that's the key right there, is most people don't even realize that the majority of all of the testing and the research and the data and all of the senses that they pull in, most of these people are sick.
yeah.
Hmm.
And not only are sick, but if you look at everybody who's been growing up from the 1930s, let's say, on to now, they've been injected with stuff, they've been sprayed with stuff, they started inventing foods that didn't exist before, they started adding things into chemical preservative. I mean, what has happened? What has been introduced to the human body over the last 40 years did not exist 100 years ago, let alone the garbage we even started adding back then. But even just going back 100 years, you go everybody that was born during this last 100 years, when we started getting the most data that we possibly could, the most census information that we possibly can, these people are already sick.
Yeah. That's so sad that I do want to say in the comments. Ev, thanks for being active. That's awesome. I've been reading them, and then Carnivore Man. I see. Obviously, you had signal problem, but anyway. With that being said, over the last 100 years, I do agree. I want to talk about a jab. Just use it general term.
Go for it. No.
This is before. So my husband really helped me wake up. Like he's the one that really was like, hey, even though he wasn't practicing, he gave me Nina Teicholz's book, The Big Fat Surprise, back in 2015. And anyway, so these are all little nuggets and clues why I chose Carnivore 2 years ago, almost to this day. So with that aside, going back to the jab, the first time he was so upset. He was like mad about everything going on in the world in that 2020 time frame, and it was tough because a lot of jobs required the jab. So I got my first round, and this is food related in a sense of carnivore related because of the your consciousness and self-awareness. So for those who are wondering where I'm going, with that in mind, so I wanted to keep my job, so I got the jab, and I didn't really think anything of it. And now I'm at a place, that was the only jab I got. Let me just be clear. But now I'm at a place where I'm like, wow, what about not just that one jab, but all of them, the whole schedule, and at the frequency at such a young age? I just question. And we all have the right to question, but to your point, Selena, like, we don't. Well, some news has come out about what ingredients need to be removed from these, but yeah, we're not getting healthier. We're getting sicker very quickly, and it's not just food. Let's just be clear. Food is a big part of it, but anything that goes in our bodies.
It was terrifying. So all during that whole time period, right, everything was going crazy. I was pregnant with my youngest son during I got pregnant in August of 2021. And I cannot tell you the insanity of people pushing that I needed to be inoculated. Let's put it that way. I needed to be inoculated during my pregnancy. And I was like, you guys are crazy. Like, not only would I not be doing this if I wasn't pregnant, but now you're also suggesting this during my gestational time with my baby. Like, what part of that even makes sense? Nothing's been tested. Nothing's even been proven. I said, I don't even trust vaccinations that have been out for the last 40 years. And you're telling me that I have to? These are the words that they used in the doctor's office. You really have to do this for your baby's health. I don't have to. No. Like
the fear is real.
Exactly. It was like, it was insane. And I remember they even got really angry with me and tried to sneak aspirin into my whole diet because I was a geriatric pregnancy. I was over 35. And they were like, you need to be taking baby aspirin. I said, for what? Well, to prevent preeclampsia. I said, well, do I have symptoms that are showing that I am walking that path? And they were like, well, no, all of your markers are perfect. So then why do I need to take this as a prevention of something that's not even happening? Like, it's not even, I don't even have markers that lead to that. Well, because you're over 35.
Yeah,
but my body is not doing those things.
A lot of protocols are in place and they don't make sense. And that is for food guidelines or for medical protocols and guidelines. And yeah, I do think, to be honest, I'm not, I'm a gay man. So I say this with all respect when I say this to all the ladies out there. I don't think humans need the medical system for births. I have friends that have done home births, multiple friends, and I do value that. They're not carnivore, but I think we can get back to nature in that sense. And I think all I'm trying to say is we can all own our own health and our babies' health, and we don't need to rely on all these this medical protocol in a lot of ways that don't make sense.
It's very traumatic on the child.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're not aware of it, you know what I mean? That's all they are. They absorb
Right.
that trauma. When they're coming out, you're supposed to actually keep the placenta to the child till it absorbs everything, but we cut it immediately and they don't get all
Right.
the nutrients. We wonder why kids are sick all the time and why they die suddenly, because they're
Right.
not still connected with mother,
Mm-hmm.
and then they automatically want to take it away. America's bad with giving leave for mothers. There's a lot of other countries that are they'll give males leave, the father leave also, which is amazing, which is
Right.
very, very important for
Yeah.
the child.
I wish that we had that here. I was very fortunate that, my husband and I agreed when we got pregnant with our youngest that, like, well, whatever we have to do, whatever we have to figure out in order for me to be able to stay home, that's what we're going to do. And not a lot of, and not to dog on men, because I'm not, but not a lot of men have that perspective anymore of the importance for the mother to stay connected with the child as long as possible during the rearing years. And it's not, I don't say this as like a fault of how dare they, or it's the societal training that has been given to this like weird disconnection of, everybody's supposed to go to work. You're supposed to send your children off to go be raised by all these other people. And it's like nobody questions the fact that, wait a minute, my child is spending 8 to 10 hours a day with somebody I don't even know. Like, how does that even logically seem normal to anybody? It's not.
Yeah, I've got to say, so I keep carnivore as the foundation. I think everything that we put into our bodies is essential to being conscious. That's kind of the theme, Cam, that you started in this conversation. So in tune with that, I am so much more in tune that I realize, wow, I'm in I'm in a maze. I'm in this, as I think Lisa Wiedemann or somebody says, but we're in a box at home and we're in a box going to go to a box at work and then a box back home.
Right.
Yeah, a box to another box to a
Yeah.
box. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so true. But when I was first like getting into the space, not being as conscious and awake, I was like, okay, whatever. Yeah, it's kind of a cute phrase. And now I'm like, wow, I don't have to live in this box. I don't have to live this way.
No, we get to break out of the box,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, we get to break the matrix.
Yeah.
And so yeah, yeah. I still do the box. I do think I'm not making excuses, but I'm not exiting the matrix, but I am very conscious of where I am now. And so like now I'm driving to work and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the box. I know I'm raising my hand, I'm no longer like just blind to it. And I say that starts with carnivore. I think, one thing I wanted to say to your point earlier, Cam, and I can't remember which one because you're making really good points, which is, people in general, the mass population doesn't really think about what we put into our mouth feeds our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And if the mass population just thinks like you said, Selena, also, it's just entertainment, or I'm blind to that I have to eat these macros and sugar is okay and fruits that are out of season are okay. And all this case is just eat it. But if we stop to really think that our brains and our bodies and just our consciousness is from what we eat, as simply as that. And if it is whole and nutritious and optimal and bioavailable, all the words we can use, then you will thrive. You will, naturally thrive. And if you're putting something else in your body, that is the foundation of how we live. If you want to combat that, then just say, don't eat. Okay, sure. You can say fasting, prolonged fasting, great. But don't eat. Just don't. So
Just live
there's
off
the
the planet.
important. Yeah. So proof is you have to eat. In the end, after, 3 weeks, you're going to finally break down and eat. So in the end, food is necessary. Everyone in here as a human will break down and finally eat food. That is number one. So if you include that, and then try to include nutrient density of the food. That's the key to health. And I just feel like a lot of people forget that. They feel like, oh, I don't really have to eat. It's a whatever. So they don't, that's number one. And number two is no focus on the nutrient density or bioavailability of that food, which optimal foods, red fatty meat, eggs, you know, you want to name other animal foods, deer, as you talked about.
Wild game. We'll just say
Yeah.
that. It's better instead of naming all of them. But
Well, most people don't even have an understanding of what nutrient density or bioavailability is, let alone the fact that they're lacking in that, let alone the fact that these processed foods don't offer them anything remotely close. And one of the big things that really got me thinking about that more about food was my family. They started a farm in Maryland, and they were starting to do the tomato growth system, and they were learning all about that. And here I got launched into soil microscopy in order to be able to understand, you know, the microorganism and micro system in the soil. And as I'm learning about the soil and what everything does in it, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is very similar to us. This is very similar to what goes on for us. And I started questioning, and my mother's husband was like, yeah, we have to go send our tomatoes off for a nutrient scale, the measurement of what their nutrient density is in comparison to the average across the nation and then in the world. And the tomatoes, because of the amendment that we were using, and we were completely doing a regenerative grow, but in addition to that, we were creating amendments that were correcting the soil to be able to be self-sustainable without chemicals and any kind of like sides, as I call them, you know, fungicides, herbicides, pesticides, all that stuff. And it was actually creating, you know, water retention, better carbon sequestration, like all of the stuff that the soil is supposed to be able to do by itself. But our soil's been raped and ravaged, and, you know, doesn't hardly exist as soil. It's not soil, it's dirt. But they go to start sending our tomatoes off for nutrient valuing, and they were 10 times more nutrient dense than an organic tomato in the world.
Okay.
And they were like, we haven't seen numbers like this in 60 years.
yeah, the food now is pretty much just the toxins without the nutrients.
Yeah.
And we've grown them that way, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Because we try to make things taste better and all those things, right? Everyone knows what a banana looked like, you know, thousands of years ago. They would not have eaten that. But yeah, it's hard to get people to wake up when you don't know. You don't know. Do you guys know the NRF2 pathway?
Yep.
I'm familiar with it.
The
Yeah.
sulforaphane and pretty much lead sets off. If you eat broccoli, it sets off this pathway. You jump in a cold plunge, it sets off pathway, heat pathway. It's your pathway to release your glutathione to get the antioxidant. So the broccoli doesn't give you the antioxidant. It makes your body go in this attack mode, thinking, oh crap, I'm getting attacked by something. That same pathway that is set off by lead, toxic fumes and smoke and stuff is set up by broccoli.
Yes.
And a lot of other plants. Your keep one is the keeper that the broccoli comes in and takes away and then releases the NRF2 pathway to release the glutathione.
Right.
So if we're already in a toxic environment, you're in the city, you're around all the fumes, right? You're already setting your pathway off. And then you're adding on more toxins. And then you get cancer and you're thinking, well, shit, I better eat some broccoli because it kills cancer. Well, it also weakens your regular cells and it sets off that pathway and it kills the cancer cells. So it does kill cancer cells, but now it's damaging your good cells. And it's just a whole upside down backwards world when you look at the actual research and paper and you look at the biology of a human. But if you just listen to so-and-so on the internet and he's like, eat broccoli, it cures cancer. Okay, cool. How does it do that? You know, when I chased all the studies and the pathways of biology and things like that, it shows that we should eat meat. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. If you like to eat whatever you eat, then go ahead and eat it. You might suffer. So understand that suffering. You might have to exercise. You might have to detox in saunas and all those things to get rid of that comfort food that you like. Comfort will always have a negative effect, right? Convenience will always have a negative effect. So put yourself in discomfort where you can enjoy it, and all the comfort comes to you. So you're not getting the negative back. So
Right.
I put myself in discomfort by not eating all this fancy food. I just literally eat bowl of ground deer meat all the time, right? And I'm healthy for it. So what was the trade-off? Comfortable
Life.
food for feeling like a superhuman.
Mhm.
But I don't feel
Yeah.
like a superhuman. I feel like a human, like everyone else should feel. I used to feel like
Exactly.
total dog shit, and I didn't even know it
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it was
Mhm.
normal. So you
Well,
build a new baseline. So right now, you guys feel amazing. That's just right now. Tomorrow can be better if you're aware enough to evolve it. You don't have to evolve 0 to 100. I wouldn't recommend it because it's not
Some
safe.
people don't come back from
Some
that.
people, I almost didn't. I was raised on 0 to 110% because that was sports. My life was sports.
Right.
I was in a lot of pain because I was inflamed because diet wasn't great. And I
mhm.
didn't even focus on that because I didn't care, because I thought I was going to be dead by the time I was 30, because my doctor told me I was twice my age. By the time I was 15, I was on Vicodin, Flexerol, hydrocodone. I had carpal tunnel in my wrist at 16, and they told me I couldn't play sports anymore. And I'm breaking, records at the school for lifting and sports. And I'm like, I told the doctor to F off, and I walked out of the hospital. My mom got mad at me because she was sitting there with me, and I was 16. I told the doctor to F off. And I kept playing sports for those 2 years until I turned 18, and then I had surgery. But I didn't sleep nearly that whole time. I suffered that whole time because my doctor told me I wasn't going to live that long. So I better experience as much as I possibly can.
Huh.
So I believed my doctor, and none of that was true. I didn't
Well,
need to be
because
fat. I didn't need to
my
be all
doctor
these
said
things.
so.
Yeah,
I
my
hate that
doctor.
phrase. My
It-
doctor.
Because,
said
like
so.
James
Yeah.
said, I outsourced my being to somebody else I thought knew, right?
Yeah.
And it
Exactly.
just turned out they knew what they were told. And what they were told was very deep and dark. If you guys really want to search and see how dark the world is, you can. I wouldn't recommend it. I would
Yeah.
recommend to just eat carnivore and go outside and start loving people. You know what I mean? Like, I would just recommend doing that. I wouldn't recommend doing, 7 years of hardcore research and wanting to just be like, oh, none of this really
Well,
matters. You know what I
and
mean?
also,
Until you find
also,
yourself.
you're gonna, for those who want to do a lot of research, great, but a lot of it can be a waste of time.
Yeah.
In the
I did the
end,
research, right?
yeah,
You don't have
in
to.
the, a lot of people who do certain professions, and including medical professionals, have to go through many years of school. Also in the legal realm, like my brother just passed the bar, so that's why I'm thinking about it. But just many years, and it doesn't matter. Law is obviously open to interpretation. Accounting, for example, he's also an accountant. That's not open to interpretation. Dollar's a dollar. In the U.S., money is a money amount is a money amount. So when it comes to this carnivore journey, to your point, I got flipped right side up because the world is upside down. So we were flipped right side up, and the studies are just the studies. Look, mainstream studies. We're here. We're on social media. We're on lives. You want to study a carnivore? Let's go. You're not ready for the results. You're
Yeah.
not ready to flip the rest of the world up right side up as well, because physiology, biology, the responses, the positive, impactful responses are obvious. So,
But James, these studies show that if you
Right.
eat this way, that it won't work for you.
yeah,
But
Who did
that's
they
great.
have eat that, right? You read
So
the
here's the
But
study.
my doctor said that, my cholesterol's high. Well, did you ask him if he knows what the difference between LDL and HDL actually is? Can you ask him that question? Let me know what his
Yeah.
answer is.
And that they are not even cholesterol.
Yes.
It's like most doctors, not to bag on them horribly, but don't even understand the true function of what those do, and yet they're prescribing people medications on something that they don't even actually have a grasp on understanding.
Hmm.
Yeah, and not to dog
Yeah.
on doctors whatsoever.
No,
They are
it
doing. Most doctors are out there doing what they want because they love you. They want to help
right,
you. They have been manipulated to the point that they
exactly,
think they're right. They are geniuses
exactly,
in a field of bullshit. Unfortunately, that doesn't
exactly,
mean they're stupid. They're very smart.
Yeah.
They're
exactly.
smart in their
Yeah.
field of bullshit. It just sucks that it's
It's
crap.
a field of bullshit. Exactly.
Actually,
It sucks. But now that you're aware of it, don't be like hammer down. No, this is the way it is. No, okay, I'm aware that it's bullshit. My field sucks. I spent my life trying to learn this. Now I need to evolve my being to help people and not make them suffer when I see that I'm making them suffer.
And Ev, I love what you said too. There's no bad or good cholesterol. Cholesterol is naturally
there is
made
no good or bad.
Yeah, that's great.
Period.
I actually have a little story to share, a funny story about the whole doctor discussion and stuff like this. So, my wife is also a carnivore with me for more than a year, and she has a friend from Russia who is a very good guy. And he has recently graduated from doctor education from the institution. And my wife and him, they had a small chat over the internet, and she was saying like, "Oh, I'm on this carnivore diet, and I'm feeling great, and I have all these benefits." And him, being an educated doctor, he was like, "Oh, I will tell you what is wrong with this. So, hear me out. Uh, Calories are very important, and there is like 4 calories in protein, 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrate, and 9 calories in a gram of fat. You didn't know that, but I'm telling you. And also, meat doesn't have vitamin C, and also saturated fat raises cholesterol." And I was like, okay, let me chat with him a little bit. So we had a little back and forth, and I was like, well, but how are you going to alleviate the Randall cycle upregulation and blah blah blah, and a lot of these things. So like, oh, do you mean the Krebs cycle? I mean, like, no, Krebs cycle is a little bit different. I mean, the Randall cycle is like, oh, we actually didn't have it at our biochem lessons. And I was telling you, well, but you also know that, for example, the vitamin C is required in much less amounts because of the competition with glucose for the GLUT4 transporters in our muscles and adipose tissues, and also the vitamin C depend on ferroreductase because you are getting ferrum 3 plus from the plants and stuff like this. So like, okay, I will look into this. I will look into this. So the guy, very good guy. No saying anything negative about him, but just about, there is doctor in indoctrination, all right? The education is and it's everywhere. It's a Russian institution. You might think that maybe it's a little bit different in some other parts of the world, but no, it's all the same. And these people are spending years of educating themselves, as you can said, on being professionals in bullshit, but it's not their fault. It's just the whole system happened historically to be built like this, and it's very sad to realize it because I'm not a medical profession. I have background in engineering, and I like to research stuff and to know how different mechanisms work, but I'm just a regular dude. And in this conversation, at least, I was able to show more level of nuance than the guy who just graduated from the medical institution with great grades. So yeah, that's, I guess, the unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in nowadays.
Well,
But
to your point, though, I don't think you're just a regular guy, and I think that's what we have to reshift. I don't mean to say that in a funny way, but even though I am smiling, but I mean to say that we still are relying on the doctor in the sense of even the carnivore space. Well, Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee and Dr. Kill, like we still are using that as leverage to why this is right, and that means the whole system is upside down.
Yeah.
To that same point, like finally upside. Let's get it right side up. The medical
Right.
system should be, more on the bottom phases of what we do. We should be so healthy that we really don't rely on them. Acute situations, of course,
Right.
great for that. But
Emergency situations.
yeah,
I'm grateful 100%. We can't hear you, Ken.
We need the old shamans back.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need the old.
yeah,
I need to go in the tent with the medicine doctor. You know what I mean? I don't need
That's
to
right.
go to the doctor every 6 months to see. I need to every once in a great while when I don't feel good, I'll go in the tent and he'll make me remember.
yeah.
But it's hard growing up, especially I guess no matter where you are, as long if you're not growing up in a third world country, you know what I mean? You've been programmed to go through life like this. And until you see it, I had to see it through going through the stuff I went through. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Everyone goes through what they go through to see what they need to see. It's not by accident in a way. It happens, but you can't make it happen on purpose. So it is by accident, right? It just happens, but it all happened for a reason, right? To wake you up to that level. So everyone's here. This conversation, we're all here. We're meant to be here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be, right? We'd be somewhere else. So to get people to be more here, like us talking, right? Versus being online. I need to read this. And like you're saying, the doctors, well, there's carnivore doctors, cool. They use that. I could go and I could do 6 years and become a doctor. And 6 years from now, I decide I want to be the carnivore doctor. I could do that. But what am I doing? I'm giving money to the system. And now I'm playing the game. I'm still playing the game of, well, I'm a doctor. You need to listen to me. So does the other guy that's doing the exact opposite of you. So who's right? Right? Don't listen to any of them. You can learn from them. Be like, okay, I'm going to take the information. I'm going to use it. If it doesn't work, I'll use something else. So when I took the gorilla information from a 10-second clip that Anthony Chafee said, I did that and I wanted to experience it. Whether it was going to make me gain a bunch of weight or lose a bunch of weight. I've done experiments where I've gained 40 pounds in 3 months from carnivore to dairy carnivore, drinking milk with carnivore, and going from 170 pounds to 210 pounds in almost 4 months. And then I lost that weight in 2 months just to see if I could do it. I didn't do it because this guy said you could do it. I said, you know what? I know I've done enough calculations chemically in the freaking lab when I'm weighing my food out, because you got to freaking count the calories, but I kind of just know what things are. So when I did that, I was like, oh, well, this is it. This is nothing's real. We can't trust anything. All you can do is really trust your experience. But you can take everyone else's experience and you can take a little niche it from that, right?
Yeah.
You can't become Buddha through Buddha's experience. You have to do it through your experience, right? He became enlightened through his way. You can awaken through your way. My way was through carnivore, finding out that I hated the medical industry so much that I had to become better than the doctors. My ego was so high. And then I had to destroy that. And when I let that go, peace came. And carnivore was just the start of it.
There is no peace if you never go through the ego death of the self-empowerment through information. That part will definitely, it will hold you back more than anything else. If you're not willing to go through that and let that go. For
I know more than you, so you should listen to me kind of stuff. And then no.
Well, I want to bring up a point to doctors and kind of dissect, literally go into surgery. I've had 2 surgeries, never any ligament tears. It was just buildup, calcified buildup in the knee, and it would lock the knee. And so I had 2 surgeries, one on each knee so far. And then just before I started carnivore, I was getting ready for my 3rd. My knee locked up. I couldn't exercise. I love to exercise and be active, but my knee was hurting again, and I was queuing up. I was going in that, sign up, wait for 3 months. Here's your, monthly check-in leading up to, and here's your, all the MRIs, X-rays. Yep, still there. Well, anyway, went carnivore. I didn't realize it till months after the fact. My knee didn't hurt, and I never needed the other surgeries in the first place had I been eating properly. That's my thought. Because again, it was the same thing. It was calcified buildup in the knee, which had happened 2 times prior. So that's my proof of what it was, and it's repeating itself 3 times, and then now it's gone. Or if it's still in the knee, I haven't got an MRI, but I don't care because I'm just doing agility every day, and
you're just stronger. You don't even feel like you're so strong.
or that. Or
you're immune to the pain. Yeah, you're numb to the pain now. You don't even know it's there.
But I think I just blame that on because I was eating other foods, not just strictly animal based carnivore diet. And
the question, the theory that I would throw out there is, that whole realization of like all the oxalate buildup and stuff like that. A lot of times calcification things get confused, and it's actually an oxalate buildup. And if you went through any kind of system where that was finally allowed to break itself down, I mean, the possibility that that is not an issue for you any longer, aside from the inflammation, of course, I think is very possible. I'm just going off of my own theory based on that. So it's not like I'm a doctor. I don't, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
all
but that
that
doesn't
jazz.
matter. That doesn't
But-
matter.
Right.
But if you look into how we regenerate, right?
Mhm.
We
Exactly.
die every day. Our cells are just reborn. Our neurons, right? I just killed one every time I talk to you guys, killing myself, right? And then I'm regrowing those every day.
Right. Right.
So all he did
Right.
was he corrected his diet and it reversed it. That's
Yeah.
all it did.
Exactly.
And-
You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
And it's worth mentioning too. I'm not trying to call anybody out here, but if we have to just make a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor, that's we're backwards. You just
Right.
gave Selena. You just gave facts. You gave, and I have experience, and then, but I'm not a doctor.
I gave a theoretic experience.
Oh, I know. I'm saying
Real.
facts and an emphasis, a state of emphasis here, of course. But
Yes, I know.
that's the. I
There
think
are
that's
no
what-
facts. It's all made up anyway. So
Yeah.
we had to create language. Someone had to say something. We had to agree
True.
with that. So
Yeah.
we agreed upon everything that's created here. So we
That's
remember
funny,
that
though.
too.
But I just like I
So-
feel like, and then even Dennis, you're like, well, I'm just a normal human. I was like, no, you are. We're still like with our language leaning in on this doctor, and I'm not about it either. Selena, you said my doctor. That's another phrase of mine that I really think is annoying when I
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah, no, it is.
I'm
It is
my
annoying.
own doctor, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
there.
Mm.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I can read my own bloods, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, I will have to hop off now because it's getting very late in here.
Yeah.
But it was very nice to meet you guys
Yeah,
and
Dennis,
talk
was
to you
awesome
today,
meeting
and let's do it some other time. Yeah.
Of course, absolutely.
Wes.
Yeah, thank you
Nice to meet
guys. See ya and have the nice rest of the day. Bye-bye.
See ya.
But I believe he's 7 hours ahead of me, so I don't know what that makes him for you guys or for you, Cameron. But
Yeah, I'm 3 o'clock right now, so I'm like 3 hours behind you.
I think he
Yeah,
said it was
6 o'clock.
11 when we started.
Really? Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah, so it's like, well then maybe, yeah, it's about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably gonna go ahead and hop us off too, if you guys
Yeah.
are okay with that at the moment.
I'm glad I was able to finally hop on.
Me too. Me
What
too.
episode is this? That's how many I've missed.
It's like 42.
Yeah.
I still can't believe it's been that many.
Yeah.
I still feel like this is like a baby game that we've started so far. Either way. Fun times.
Well, it's
fun
beautiful.
times. Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah,
same.
this is awesome.
So, any last words before we shut the world out of our conversation for our live? I think
Tomorrow, just wake up and breathe and start loving
Mm.
everyone. Love will be perfect
Absolutely.
after that.
Yes.
Awesome.
My
Well,
last-
thanks, Lena. It was
yeah.
good meeting you, James. Glad
Nice
I was
to
able
meet you,
to talk to you.
Cam. My last thoughts is just eat animal based. Do it.
Just do it.
No,
All
I
right,
just didn't do
guys.
that, but thank you so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, everybody who's watching, until next time, we'll see you again.
Love you, beautiful people.
All right.